McKelvey and I'm here with Craig from the White Goose. I first came across Craig when he was a little boy, maybe 12, 13,
Yep.
full of life, full of energy, full of mischief,
Yeah.
a really big heart, a heart full of pain, but a heart full of passion. I am just so excited at how far he's come and what he's done so far, and we're going to find out a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
Craig and the White Goose, you are a guitarist and vocalist.
That's right.
And you had your first album released in October.
Yeah.
Tell us a wee bit about that.
Yeah, we went into the studio in Clitheroe with 180 Media and recorded an album called Adam Cara, which is Gaelic for Soul Friend, and it came out just the end of October, start of November, and it's got, I think it's about 12 tracks on it, so just kind of tracks of every kind of nature. So you have some tracks that are filled with kind of raw emotion, raw pain, and just life experience, and where God was in the midst of that stuff. And then you have other tracks that talk about the celebration and the joy of life and stuff as well. So yeah, I mean, it was a really exciting project to be part of, and we had some, great times in the studio and fun times, and it was fun, and just seeing where it's going next is quite exciting.
Why did you choose Soulmate as the title?
I think because there's a lot of this notion in life about friendship. It talks about everybody wants to have friends and stuff, but I think personally there are very few people that you call close friends, and I think Jesus only had 12, really close friends, and I think a soul friend, a soulmate, is someone who's a close friend, and we wanted that to be the album name because actually, whether it sounds cheesy or not, God for us is a soul friend. He's someone who, he's that kind of person that whenever a tragedy strikes, you can run to him and know that he'll be there to wipe the tears. Whenever, a child is born, he's there to celebrate with you and wet the baby's head. He is the soul friend. That's why we chose that name.
Yeah, there in the good times and
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Tell me a wee bit about the cover of the album, because that was quite poignant.
Yeah, the cover of the album is of a person standing looking up at this mountain.
Yeah.
And it's symbolic of each of our journeys in life, that as Christians sometimes we're expected that everything will be rosy when you become a Christian, or everything will be great, live your health, wealth and prosperity gospel type thing, God will give you fullness, when actually the reality is that Christianity is really about mountain bottoms, valleys and mountaintop experiences, and that never changes. If you're a new Christian, or if you're a Christian for 50 years, you're still going through the same mountaintop and mountain bottom experiences. And I think we really wanted to get across that the person at the bottom of the mountain is someone who's about to go on a journey. So we wanted this album to be about a journey and an experience of what Christianity and faith means through music, and that's kind of where we started with that.
So I was reading a few of the reviews that were written about the album, and I noticed one of them commented that they are songs of hope in a seemingly hopeless world.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the news portrays a lot of bad stuff, because I think there's a lot of bad stuff going on, but there's also a lot of good stuff happening. Do you know what I mean? And I think people are just looking at the news, and a lot of people feel really anxious about the future and anxious about their lives and their own financial positions and whatever else, and I don't think it's wrong to be anxious about that, because it is a scary time that we live in. But this music is trying to show you that through the scary times and through the anxious times, there will be a release, there will be a hope, there will be something to look forward to rather than to dread coming. So I think it's really humbling to hear people writing stuff about our music like that, because we really do want to show people hope in a time when there doesn't seem to be much hope, and we hope that comes across in all of our songs, that it's not about staying in the valley, it's not about staying low and being down all the time.
Yeah.
Though some people really do feel like that, it's about coming through it.
Yeah.
And seeing the the other side.
Yeah.
So.
I know one of the messages you were keen to get across too was that you can never outrun God's grace, and that no matter how far you feel you've strayed or how much you feel you've got it wrong, God is there for you.
Yeah, I mean it's a humbling thing to think about, really. I don't think I'll ever get my head around, the grace of God. All of us have done things in life that we're not proud of. I certainly have. But to think that God doesn't even look at that, He doesn't look at the sin or the badness in your life or the wrongdoing. He just looks at you and sees a perfect human being who is, in an imperfect world. And I think our message is that it doesn't matter what you've done or how far you think you've fallen, you can't fall away from God. And a lot of people think that people fall away from God, but if you genuinely have an encounter with the risen Jesus, you'll never fall away from that. You can't meet Jesus and not be transformed. You just can't. And I think for us it's about trying to create that. I'm not saying that we're going to create a meeting between you and God or whatever else, but our music is sent to maybe give you a bit of what Jesus means to us. Mm-hmm. And how that grace has been there for us,
Yeah.
And certainly Dad and I, and our family, we've been through a lot of bereavement, a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, a lot of suffering, and we could have stayed down, we could have stayed beaten down.
Yeah.
But we pushed through, and with God's grace, He brought us out the other end of it, and that's where we are, and that's what we hope the music also portrays, the grace and getting through the tough stuff.
Yeah, that certainly comes across.
Yeah.
So there's been the excitement of putting the album together and getting it out there.
Yeah.
What's coming up next?
Gigging, man. Yeah, I think for us it's getting the band in England sorted and just gigging across the UK flat out. We almost already have another album done, and whatever else, but we have to get this album out here for people to hear. So for us, it's just gigging and spending a lot of time on the road and stuff. And the label have been great with that. They've been really, getting us gigs and whatever else. But 2015 is going to be the year of gigging for us,
So where can we expect to see you?
I think it'll be all over the place. It'll be in churches. It'll be in, pretty much like Sunday Night Live type arenas and all that kind of stuff. But also in, I think it's the end of February, we're going to have a big gig in Belfast at the New Life City Church for Tony Main. Tony Main's kind of church. He runs the Falls Road Community Church. And going to do a big fundraising gig for that, so I think that's going to be pretty big. We're going to have people coming from England and UCB, Robbie Frawley from UCB, who's also our label manager, he's going to be kind of narrating the night and stuff, so
excellent.
It's going to be good.
So how, in the midst of all this, have you managed to find time to write the pieces for the new album?
Oh man. It just seems to happen, Debbie.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you get this, Dad and I'll sit down and we start to write stuff, and sometimes you'll just be blocked. You've gone through every chord variation that most other songs in the rest of the world have gone through, and you're thinking, I'm just repeating another song around it, and you get really paranoid about playing the same song or playing the same kind of music or whatever else.
Right.
But then you just get this drop, and you play a different chord variation, and you think, well, that sounds really new and quite fresh. Well, it maybe isn't, but it sounds to us new and fresh. And it's a real process. We just sit down. Sometimes the songs will come in 1 hour, maybe 4 hours, and other times it'll take 6 months to a year to write one song.
Okay.
So it's a complete roller coaster.
Is it yourself and your dad that do most of the writing?
Yeah,
or,
it is.
Okay.
Dad writes a lot of stuff. There's times I would write lyrics as well with him, but the majority of the lyrics come from him.
Yeah.
And I think mainly that's because we walk so closely together that we both write. He writes. He's able to portray, how I feel, about certain situations.
Okay.
And where God is in that kind of stuff. So we're a partnership, complete partnership. And I would write the music and sit and kind of find the chord variations and the harmonies and the, you know, sometimes working out what the arrangement of the song, whatever else. So we do write together. We're a team and a partnership, and I think that just works really well because we've gone through the exact same experiences, maybe different. Yeah. You know, losing my mum was a big one. Yeah. Losing family members, you know, really tough times, but we come at it from the same kind of place. So. Yeah.
So it's the same experiences, but from slightly different perspectives, and you're just so in tune with each other.
Yeah, we do. We haven't fallen out once about writing a song, and we've about 100 and something songs sitting there, and a lot of them don't make the cut. Do you know what I mean? But the ones that we do, you just get this real feeling of, wow, we've accomplished something there that we didn't think we could do. We've managed to get down and get out, you know, a message that's gonna give someone hope, or gonna, you know, we had we done an interview there on the radio about a couple of weeks ago, and we'd this lady email through, and it was quite powerful really, because she said that she'd listened to our interview and she was really thinking about suicide, and that she kind of stopped herself, you know what I mean, and she'd heard the story of me talking about mum, you know, taking her life and stuff, and then she stopped, and it was stuff like that just really, there's a couple of instances that's happened to us, and when you hear stories as powerful as that, it kind of crumbles you slightly, because you think, what a privileged position are we in to be able to do that kind of a thing, do you know what I mean, and people to be able to hear and find some hope. So
yeah. And I mean, certainly you've changed the whole course of that person's life.
Yeah, which is mental to think that you could do that. But music is so powerful, and all of us in some way or another are engaged in music at some level, you know, whether that be feeling the rhythm of a floor through someone who's deaf, you know, to someone, you know, everybody experiences music at some level, and it's just it's a universal language, and I think it's one of the only ways to be able to truly get how you feel out without almost having to sit down in a room and talk to someone about it, you know what I mean? To kind of portray your music in that kind of way, or your feelings in that way, I think is quite powerful.
So where would you say most of the inspiration for your songs comes from?
Genuinely life experience, really, and the highs and lows of, you know, I wrote Hold On, and, you know, Hold On is an extremely powerful song that came out of an extremely dark place, and most people don't want me to talk about the real story of how Hold On was written, because they're like, whoa, you know, when Christians hear this, they're not going to like it. But I was extremely drunk. I was, you know, I drank half a bottle of whiskey. I was in one of the darkest places that I've ever been in. And it was very much a case of, well, how can God be with you if you're doing something so sinful? Because I'd always been taught, you know, as a Christian, you can't drink, you can't get drunk, you can't do all this stuff. So here I was, as a Christian, supposedly thinking that things were supposed to go right, but in the darkest time of my life. So I had a, you know, big bottle of Jack Daniels and was completely stocious. So I'm in my living room, really down, everyone's going the wrong way, and I just hear this voice in my head saying, pick up your guitar. And I'm kind of going, no, I'm not picking up my guitar. And I kept hearing, you know, just lift your guitar and start to play. And I lifted it from 1 or 2 in the morning. I lifted the guitar, I couldn't even see the fretboard, and my fingers just went on to the riff. And I started to play this riff, and these lyrics just came like that. You know, when you feel so all alone, when you feel like you can't go on, when the wolves are closing in, and the people you love walk out your door, hold on. And I mean, those lyrics came straight away, straight like that. And then it got to the section where the building bridge was, hold on, don't let yourself go. And I could hear, almost like God was singing over me, don't let yourself go. And I was screaming this. Now my neighbours are, you know, Apparently I've been thinking, this guy's nuts. It's 2 in the morning, he's screaming, hold on, don't let yourself go. But that's where the song came out of, the realness of life, of being broken. And realising then, it was only then that I realised the grace of God. That why would God meet me in this so-called sinful nature and sit with me in the most broken time of my life, one of the most broken times? Because God's not supposed to be with someone that's sinful. He's supposed to then exit the building, wait outside until you've got rid of being drunk and whatever else. But actually what he did was come and sit with me in my drunkenness and hold me in it. And I never knew that God would do that. So that's when I learned about the grace of God, really. You know.
And it's that kind of reality, I guess, that people relate to.
Yeah, I think so. People just want to be honest with you. People don't want you to sugarcoat, life. They want to hear the rawness, because if you portray this picture that you're doing nothing wrong, then when people fall, they're going to keep on falling.
That's right. And they've nowhere to turn.
They've nowhere to turn. But if you can try and be real, and I'm not saying I was right, I'm not condoning what I was doing. But I'm saying, in that moment of brokenness, why shouldn't I tell people the real story in order that people can see that when you do fall, it's okay too? Do you know what I mean? That doesn't mean that that's it for you. You're not a Christian anymore. The life is over. It's you pick yourself back up, you dust yourself off, and you keep on rocking. You know?
That's amazing.